Welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we often talk about the big picture stuff, but sometimes it's the hidden components, the things working away silently that really make our modern world tick.
Absolutely. The unsung heroes, you might say.
Exactly. Things that ensure our medicines are safe, our water's pure, but we hardly ever think about them. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of those, the diaphragm valve.
Whoa.
Might sound a bit technical, but stick with us.
It's more relevant than you might think.
Our mission today is to really quickly shed some light on what these things are, why they're so important globally, and look at some pretty surprising market dynamics. We're drawing on some recent, pretty detailed market research here.
And it is fascinating, isn't it, how something so, fundamental can be so invisible to most people.
Right.
But these seemingly simple devices, they underpin so much, like you said, drinking water purity, the safety of medicines.
So break it down for us. What exactly is a diaphragm valve?
Okay, so at its heart, it's designed for two key things. Really precise control over flow and critically, completely leak-proof operation.
Right, proof.
Yeah, that's the big one. See, unlike a lot of other valves where, moving parts might touch the fluid, potentially causing wear or trapping stuff.
Right, creating little nooks and crannies.
Exactly. The diaphragm valve uses this flexible membrane, the diaphragm itself. It gets pushed down onto a sort of ridge called a weir to control or stop the flow completely.
Oh.
And this design creates essentially a hermetic seal. It completely isolates the fluid from the valve's workings and, crucially, from the outside world.
So it's that isolation, that seal, that's the key feature.
That's its superpower, absolutely. It means they're indispensable in industries where you just cannot risk contamination, or where you need super precise dosing, or you're handling nasty materials.
Like what kind of industries are we talking about?
Oh, loads. Pharmaceuticals is a huge one. Think about making vaccines, keeping everything sterile.
Makes sense.
Water treatment, obviously, keeping our drinking water safe. Chemical processing, especially with corrosive stuff. Food and beverage, ensuring purity there, too. And high-tech biotech labs.
Wow, okay. So they're really gatekeepers in these critical processes.
That's a good way to put it. Vigilant gatekeepers. They guide the flow. But more importantly, they stop anything unwanted getting in or out.
Yeah.
It really makes you think how much relies on these unseen standards, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Okay, let's unpack this market side then, because if they're out of sight, their market is definitely not static.
Not at all.
You might actually be surprised, I think, by how fast this whole area is growing globally. It's not just ticking along. It feels like a real acceleration.
Yeah, the numbers back that up.
Right, let's get into those numbers. The global market for these valves was already pretty substantial, valued at $2.94 billion back in 2021.
Which is a solid base.
A very solid base. And it's not slowing down. Projections show it hitting $3.75 billion by 2025. But here's the really interesting part for me. Looking out to 2033, the forecast is for $6.12 billion.
Wow, that's quite a jump.
It is. That works out to a 6.3% compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, which, indicates really consistent, healthy expansion. So what do these big figures tell us? What's driving this?
Well, like you said, it's not just random growth. If you connect it to the bigger picture, it's really being pushed by some fundamental shifts. Two main things. A rising demand for genuinely hygienic flow control.
Okay, hygiene.
And an increasing, almost obsessive focus across industries on process safety.
Right. Regulations tightening, maybe? Consumer awareness?
Both, I think. And what people sometimes miss is how the diaphragm valve's design, that isolating membrane we talked about, gives this amazing hermetic seal. It offers a level of contamination prevention, leak-proof integrity, while other valve types, like your standard ball valves or gate valves, often can't match that without adding complexity.
Can you give us a concrete example? Where does that really make a difference?
Sure. Take pharma again. A tiny contamination in one batch. That could mean millions in recalls, plus the public health risk is enormous.
Yeah, huge implications.
The diaphragm valve design means basically no crevices, no dead spots for bacteria to hide, no lubricants or seals that could potentially leach into the product. It's perfect for achieving that near absolute sterility you need for biologics, vaccines, pure water systems.
Okay, sterility is one clear benefit.
Or think about handling hazardous chemicals. Preventing what they call fugitive emissions, those tiny invisible leaks, is critical for safety and the environment.
Wow.
A diaphragm valve just provides this solid barrier between the chemical and the atmosphere. It's becoming best practice for preventing spills or toxic vapor escapes. These aren't just nice to haves, they address real daily risks.
Hmm.
So yeah, the market growth isn't just about building new plants. It really signals this global shift towards stricter rules, higher expectations for safety and purity, makes these valves totally indispensable.
That really puts the numbers in context. It's not just dollars and cents. It's about technology meeting these critical evolving needs.
Okay, fascinating. Now, let's zoom in a bit. Where's this growth actually happening? Which regions are the real hotbeds? Starting with, well, the leader, Asia Pacific.
Right.
This region is, frankly, dominating from $1.07 billion in 2021, and it's projected to hit nearly $2.36 billion by 2033.
Huge growth.
Huge! And it has the highest global CAGR to match at almost 7%, 6.96% to be precise. What's going on in Asia Pacific that's driving this?
Well, it's kind of a perfect storm, really. You've got rapid industrialization, massive urbanization. That means huge investments in infrastructure, manufacturing, processing plants.
Right, building booms.
Exactly. And within that, China is obviously a giant. It's a massive manufacturing hub, constantly expanding, upgrading facilities. Its market is set to nearly double, hitting around $944 million by 2033. That's a 7.36% CAGR. They're investing heavily in advanced manufacturing and environmental controls, too.
Okay, China's a big piece. But here's a real standout. India. It's actually the fastest growing country globally in this market.
Really? Faster than China?
Yep, an incredible 7.45% CAGR, expected to reach $462 million by 2033. It's not just volume. India has this booming pharmaceutical sector, big water treatment projects, and a growing focus on food safety. All need high-quality, reliable valves.
Wow. Okay. Indians want to watch them.
Definitely. And then you've got solid contributions from Japan, South Korea, Southeast Asia. It reflects this wider regional push for industrial expansion, but also adopting more advanced hygienic processes. They're not just building more, they seem to be building better.
Higher standards driving demand. Got it. Those APAC numbers are seriously impressive.
Yeah.
But it's not just emerging economies, right? Mature markets are also leaning into these valves. Let's swing over to North America. What's the picture there?
Right, moving across the globe. North America is another strong growth story, though maybe driven by slightly different things. The region's expanding significantly from about $835 million in 2021 up to an estimated $1.63 billion by 2033. That's a solid 5.9% CAGR.
Still very healthy growth.
Very. And here, while it's a mature industrial base, you see growth coming from upgrading existing infrastructure, dealing with really stringent regulations, and big investments in high-value sectors like biopharma and advanced manufacturing.
So upgrading and specializing.
Pretty much. The U.S. naturally dominates in sheer size, projected to pass $1.28 billion by 2033, massive industrial base, leader in biotech.
Sure.
But interestingly, Canada actually shows a faster growth rate at 6.25% CAGR. That probably points to strong investment in their resources sector and advanced processing.
Okay.
And Mexico is showing real strength, too, with a 6.1% CAGR. That seems linked to its growing manufacturing and chemical industries, often supplying the North American market with, increasingly sophisticated production.
So a mix of innovation and strategic upgrades across North America. Okay, next stop, Europe. Also showing steady, significant growth, rising from $658 million in 2021 to over $1.31 billion by 2033. That's a 6.1% CAGR. What's the story in Europe?
Europe's growth is interesting because it really reflects this consistently high-standard industrial environment they maintain.
Right, strong regulation.
Exactly. Deeply ingrained rules, especially within the EU, that push environmental protection, worker safety, product quality, that naturally drives industries towards reliable, leak-proof stuff like diaphragm valves.
Makes sense.
Within Europe, Germany leads the way, 6.6% CAGR. Not really a surprise, is it? Industrial powerhouse, leader in precision engineering, especially chemicals and pharma.
True.
But the UK and the rest of Europe are performing strongly too, both growing above 6.3% CAGR. That shows continued investment in high-standard processes, water infrastructure upgrades, strong food and beverage sector right across the continent.
So even in established markets, the demand for this level of reliability keeps growing.
Absolutely. It shows that they see the critical value, the necessity of these valves for maintaining and even advancing their world-class industrial standards.
Okay, so we've covered the big three, APAC, North America, Europe. But it's a global market. What about the other regions? How do they fit into the picture?
Yeah, good point. To round it out, let's briefly touch on the others. We see growth linked to industrialization in specific sectors. South America, for instance, looks set for quite a bit of expansion, growing from $182 million in 2021 to $460 million by 2033. That's a healthy 6.5% CAGR.
What's driving that?
Often investments in water treatment, mining, food processing. Brazil leads there, but Colombia and the rest of South America are posting strong gains too, over 6.6% CAGR, suggests new industrial investment infrastructure projects.
Okay.
Then you've got the Middle East. Growth is a bit more modest there. $122 million up to $224 million by 2033, about 4.6% CAGR.
Mostly oil and gas related.
That, but also, crucially, huge water desalination projects. Addressing water scarcity is a massive driver there. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the main players.
Right. Desalination requires precise control.
Definitely. And finally, Africa. Progressing steadily, climbing from $68 million in 2021 to nearly $130 million by 2033. That's a 5.1% CAGR. Nigeria actually shows the fastest regional growth at 5.3%, which signals, emerging industrial development, focus on water and wastewater infrastructure.
So across the board, different drivers, but consistent growth.
Exactly. What's really fascinating is how these regional trends kind of mirror broader economic and industrial development. It just shows how foundational these valves are, whether you're in a booming economy or an established one.
So let's bring it all together. We've heard the numbers, the regions, the tech. What does this all really mean for you, our listener? Beyond the stats, what's the big story these diaphragm valves tell?
Well, it means that these components, these unseen parts, are actually critical enablers. They enable modern industrial reliability and, honestly, by extension, our quality of life.
How so?
Think about it. Their function, giving that top-tier safety, precision, hygiene, because of that unique isolating design, translates directly into real benefits in your everyday life.
Like what?
The reliability of your medicines, the safety and quality of your food and drink, the cleanliness of the water coming out of your tap. All of that depends, somewhere along the line, on these kinds of precise, dependable, tightly controlled systems. These valves are working away silently everywhere, making sure the highest standards are met, often without us even realizing it. It just underlines how vital they are to our complex, health-conscious world.
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? How many other unsung heroes like this are out there in industry, impacting our daily lives without us knowing?
Exactly my thought.
Right.
And this steady, even accelerating growth in the diaphragm valve market, it isn't just about more factories making more stuff. It's locked in step with industries demanding the absolute highest standards of safety, precision, hygiene.
Right.
It reflects that global push for more accountability, better quality, better environmental protection. It's almost like a barometer for industrial sophistication and for what we as a society expect.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the global diaphragm valves market. We've gone from the elegant simplicity of their design to exploring these really quite complex global market dynamics driving their growth.
Quite a journey.
It is. We've seen how these crucial, often invisible components are a fast-growing fundamental part of industry, absolutely critical for reliability and safety everywhere. So maybe next time you pour a glass of water or take some medication, perhaps you'll have a bit of a new appreciation for the intricate, precise, often hidden systems like the diaphragm valve that make it all work seamlessly. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden gears, what other silent sentinels are out there keeping our complex world turning so safely and efficiently? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.